Welcome to the second podcast in the series from Strategic Insights. My name is Andrew Mackle. I will be your host. Today, I'm lucky enough to be sitting across the table from Mike Grinage, Senior Sales Executive for the Southeast market for us. And he was good enough to bring along one of his favorite clients, Trevor Burnette, IT Director for Mayne Pharma. And I'm going to let these two have a good dialogue today on the importance of partnerships in the right group when looking at what's going to support your needs moving forward. Mike.
Well, Andrew, thank you for having us on the show today. I greatly appreciate the opportunity, and I will speak for Trevor on that one as well, as he is my lifesaver, as always. So, Trevor, thank you for joining. Please tell us about yourself and how you got into the ERP space.
Yeah, I'm Trevor Burnette. I'm the IT director at Mayne Pharma, which actually started out as Metrics. I've been there 18 years. And when it was Metrics Contract Services, it was just a fee-for-service contract analytical company. And they were acquired by Mayne Pharma about 6 years after I was there. And we started getting more into manufacturing our own pharmaceuticals and selling those. And when we did that, we had to move from uh, basically spreadsheets to ERP and MRP system. And that's when we started using QAD and partnered with SIG for the implementation.
So I like that word partner. So
Mhm.
tell me in your own words, why partnerships versus vendors are important.
Yeah, I think it was good because we built relationships real early with SIG. They came on site to do sort of the pre uh, implementation to get all the documentation, to get everything down. Um, and we we actually had a conference room set up, and there was at least two or three SIG folks there every week during the implementation phase of this. And and we really did have to partner with SIG to get this rolling. We moved up our our go live date by 2 months for the financial system just because of some things that we were doing, and we really needed to move off of our old financial system. And SIG at first, you guys were like, it can't happen. And then we looked at the plan, moved some things around, pushed MRP out a little bit more, and brought the financials in, and we were actually able to make our May 2016 go live, which was really good. It was hard, but it went really smooth. So
Yeah, that's a fantastic story. I love to hear
yeah,
when things have to be adjusted just for the business purposes, but the fact that goals can be accomplished with a little bit of hard work and some elbow grease. That's fantastic. So, what do you guys look for when you're looking for companies that have your best interest in heart?
yeah, we're looking for somebody who, because we like to move pretty quick. So we look for somebody who can jump in quick and who's willing to um, sort of give us some dedicated folks. At SIG, we work with quite a few of the same people over and over again, which is nice because you build a relationship with them, and uh, you know how to work with them and what their strengths are, and where they can fill any gaps we have internally. So yeah, it's worked out really good like that, doing that.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, we've worked together now for a few years, Trevor, and one of the things that a lot of companies out there are missing are is that local partner. That
hmm
local account manager. How important is that to you?
Yeah, it's good. Able to, I mean, you're on my cell phone. I know your number when you call, so that's nice. So we can I can just pick up the call. I mean, pick up the phone and give you a call if I need something quickly done, or if we're on a project and I see something, I see a roadblock that I need handled, I can just call you directly and say, hey, we need some more resources on this, or um, can we move this priority up in this project and move the priority down in another one, or it's real nice to just be able to pick up the phone and give you a call, Mike. So
Well, thank you.
yeah.
I greatly appreciate that. I enjoy talking to you quite regularly.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
that being said, I know that you guys have the ability to work with other vendors, right?
Mhm.
Strategic is not, the only player in town. But that being said, why Strategic?
Well, you have very good knowledge. It helps that you guys implemented our system, so you have a broad knowledge of our system. So if we go outside, even if we go to QAD directly, um, they don't know the system, at least how it's configured for us, as well as SIG does. So that helps. And we actually like a lot of the folks, Michael Anson Cartwright, Suhas, Jerry. We've worked with a lot of these guys, Ron Racine, for quite a while, and we really enjoy working with them.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you've named some of our
Hmm.
senior consultants that are out there.
Hmm.
Obviously, Michael has moved on to our,
Hmm.
our solutions architecture team, which is fantastic. The knowledge that he
Yeah,
brings to the table is absolutely amazing.
we
Um, you
reach
know,
out to him often. So
yes.
yeah.
He, before he rolled over from the consulting world to that team, he was my go-to guy. As a matter of fact, he's still
Hmm.
my go-to guy. I have to,
Yeah.
constantly remind myself. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to pull back from using Mac so
Yeah.
much.
Jason's trying to fill his shoes now. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, kind of going back in time, right? You've been with Mayne for 18 years. And when I look at the history of Mayne Pharma and the projects that you guys have used, Strategic on, one of the questions that I've got is, how did you guys come across Strategic? How did the relationship develop between the two companies?
well, how we initially came across it was, fr- I really couldn't even tell you that, Mike, because I was a systems analyst when we kicked off the QAD project. Um, so I wasn't even involved. I wasn't involved in picking QAD. We actually used Ria Chow, who's with LSPDIA now.
Mm-hmm.
She helped us pick our ERP system, and we ended up with QAD. And I'm assuming Ria looped SIG in to the implementation talks, and that's how we first met up. I'm pretty sure that's how that went.
Yeah, Trevor. In a lot
So.
of cases, you're making great points. When selection agencies or consultants that are helping you make that decision on ERP choices are narrowing the gap, a lot of times they'll bring strategic in to quote against the OEM or to quote against other vendors. So you have a best of breed option when it comes to consulting partners. And I found it really interesting. You noted I use Mac all the time too. So when you note all the people that you did, our highlight that we always like to come in with when we try to gain that partnership and understand that we're interviewing you like you're interviewing us is we bring people to the table that have 10 years in the industry. You're working with someone that was a former controller. You're working with someone that's a former supply chain manager, and you develop that rapport with those people. And we have long tenure. So the nice thing is, if you do a project with us, the chances are when you do your next project, we'll put the same person on. And there's that continuity and the ability to understand. And I mean, as funny as this is, you're basically acknowledging all the things that we like to tout for our organization as a benefit to our customers, and it's refreshing because a lot of times people don't hear it come full circle. We say it at trade shows and we tell new clients this, but I mean, as you noted, those top players that we have that we love to install at our clients, your success is our biggest motivating factor, right? We don't have a lot of turnover with our client base at all unless an acquisition happens and it's forced. So as Mike, builds this relationship with you and you have this relationship with Mac and different people that are moving around, it's critical for us. And that feedback you're giving, we want to say is greatly appreciated because it is what the core of our business.
No, no, and I do appreciate the stability we have with SIG. We have quite a few software projects that we kick off outside of um, ERP, and the you notice that the consultants, which is not bad that they're younger, but a lot of them are younger. There seems to be a lot of experience at SIG with the product. So when we move on to these other products that we're using, whether it's a CRM or uh, revenue management or whatever system it is, you do notice that it is a sort of a younger crowd that's helping us, and um, it's quite a bit of turnover. We've had as many as like 4 PMs turnover on one project on some of our other projects. So it's nice to have the stability that we see at SIG and sort of the the experience that is there. So
It is a. I always laugh because for the first 5 years of my career, I was one of the youngest people in our industry, especially even in our company. And
yeah,
now, being a follically challenged gentleman myself, I realize that I'm no longer young, but we are still my age group as well as older. You still have a very good contingent of people that came from industry that
mhm,
are active in trying to help people with QAD and other enterprise solutions, just for the fact that we all did them in our former lives. And while the younger seem young, but and we are building them up, like you said, it's very nice to go back to the well and say, hey, do you remember when we used to run this version from 2014?
mhm,
And that person has the breadth of knowledge to understand the customization you had installed and how the new application can take care of that without it. And it is refreshing to hear. But I agree with you. It is when there's a lot of turnover and people haven't walked in your shoes, it's a different conversation.
yeah, yeah. I do appreciate the amount of experience that we see with the consultants there. So
Yeah, you can't beat it. You can't beat that at all, especially when you have those consultants that have been in that industry role. Kind of talking about longevity. You know, what changes have you seen in the enterprise solution over the last 10 years?
with QAD itself,
Yes.
or yeah, um, well, we have not upgraded recently, which we have that on the slate coming up. So we actually haven't seen. Uh, we're still in the .NET version. But we have seen the newer version of QAD that is truly an HTML version, you know, on a browser. Because when we bought QAD, I was told I wasn't part of the selection. I was told it was a web-based ERP system, and basically you use the web address to download a client locally. So not really web-based ERP system. Uh, so that is a big change, that everything is sort of moving towards the cloud, even though we are seeing stuff move back to the data center now, just because of storage cost. And I think it wasn't the panacea that everybody thought it was going to be for storage. So
Yeah.
we are starting to see some things move back to the data center. However, we do use QAD in the cloud currently.
So, as you look at that upgrade coming up in the future, is it being driven by requirements and industry demand and needing the functionality? I mean, the benefit slash knock on QAD over the years is the fact that you could wall it in. You could wall off your server in a back room, and it's going to do everything you need to do to operate your business for a long period of time. And now we're seeing industry demands and changes for
Mhm.
cloud and data storage and real time analytics to the point where you're seeing people only making those moves if they're on a historic version due to requirements. Are you seeing it more
Mhm.
requirements based or just keeping agile as you know that industry changes are coming with supply chain and the just the architecture in general?
Well, I think moving off of .NET and onto a true browser-based system is one aspect of it that we want to see, and QAD is actually driving it now. Um, Obviously, there's a big push there to get people to upgrade, so that they're behind a lot of this push to get it to go, and also for security reasons, at a certain point in time, they stop patching and
Mhm.
making updates to certain systems, and just for cybersecurity reasons, you want to stay as close to patched up as you can.
Yeah,
So,
so there's two areas they're going with that, right? So there's the security piece of it. There's also the piece that as the systems age, it costs a lot more money to maintain so many versions. So they
yeah.
can keep you more secure, and they can have more service capability and give you a better product if they can keep you current. All good things, and I think it's good that you highlight those things because we're seeing a number of clients facing different reasons for making those moves, whether they are strictly just because of versioning, whether in retirement, whether it is due to data security. And in some cases, it is they're going to go global and they're on a version that might not be the financial solution they're looking for. So great points made.
Yeah. Speaking of security, I think it's there's a big push for the cloud, right? I have a customer that just experienced a ransomware attack, right? And one of the things that probably saved them the agony of losing all of their data was the fact that their ERP, QAD, was located in the cloud. So, you guys are on the cloud. When you guys first initially went to the cloud, what would you say the deciding factor was on that?
It took some of the management of everything, off of our plate and let us be more mission focused and on everything, and so that sort of freed up our bandwidth because we do run lean. So it's nice not to have to worry about that, and that we can go to QAD um, uh, for that portion of the ERP system. Uh, and it is nice to have it in the cloud too, because we do have a connection back, so we can get our data back. Progress has a nice product called ProtoSQL, so you can replicate the Progress database down to local SQL Server for reporting purposes. So it's kind of, we have the best of both worlds. It's managed by QAD in the cloud, but we also have local access to our data if we need it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I've got one final question for you,
Mhm.
and you mentioned a service, managed services, right? So how important do you think it is to have a company like Strategic provide help desk services that are outside of that OEM ERP, but still able to support you with
Mhm.
your ERP?
No, that's real important. Like, we keep a sort of a blanket PO open for the help serve there at SIG, so that we can, any issues that we have, just because we don't, a lot of these issues that might pop up with QAT, we've never seen them before, but obviously there's folks like Michael Anson Cartwright or Suhas or someone at Michelle, somebody at um, SIG who has seen it. So, we can put in a help serve and usually get it knocked out that same day if there is an issue. And it just, like I said before with the other managed services, it frees up our time where we can focus on other things and 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 don't have to track down some obscure problem that would take us 2 days to figure out, but we can get an answer from you guys in like 30 minutes. So,
Trevor, that's perfectly said, and I think a great way to cap off this podcast. Part of our services we offer in that help desk is to offer the knowledge set, so you don't have to have a bunch of team members with obscure knowledge on a bunch of things that may come up in a blue moon. And I want to call it the 1-800 phone a friend, if you will, of a solution where 15 minutes later you can have an answer, versus digging through database questions and help desk and tickets, and you know how it goes. So thank you for promoting that. Thank you for your time today on the call. We appreciate your partnership and your time today. Mr. Grinage, thank you for bringing your customer along for this great dialogue today. We look forward to seeing you in the future, and I'm sure we can all connect over one day to grab dinner and talk about today in deeper detail.
Sounds like a plan.
yep.
Let's do it.